It's really fucking simple. I wouldn't recommend shooting at me because your gun goes pew pew, but my fucking gun goes.
Hello again, this is part 2 of the Italer 148 scale A-10A, or Thunderbolt 2. I did do it a little bit more on the cockpit, which I'll show you in a sec, and I've got 2 of the other extra bits that have come, i.e. the engine and the turned metal for the barrels for the front of the aircraft. So, let's turn the camera around and see what we've done so far. Right, all I've done is basically painted up the cockpit. I've looked on sort of like images of the real thing of the cockpit. It is predominantly black, but what I'm going to do is dry brush and go through the dials and all the rest of it and see what I can pick out with different colours like yellows, reds and stuff like that. So that's that sorted out. And I've just got to do the side panels and attach those to the actual cockpit itself. What I'll try and do is see if I can get this on Freight Dog engine resin, and it's basically, from what I can see, almost like a plug-in for the actual real, well, for the kit part at least. So it's got your usual casting stubs to get rid of, but this is the first time I've actually got it out of the actual packet itself. Bloody hell. Very nice. Very nice indeed. If you can see that. Well, that is some detail. So, yeah. So that'll be going in. Sure it will. Got the front part, you know, compressor blades and all the rest of it. That's nicely detailed as well. So hopefully you can see that. Hopefully that's coming out all right. And the various other bits and pieces, the exhaust or engine exhaust, and not too sure on that one. Anyway, we'll find out what it is. But yeah, that's what I've got there. And also, I've got the turn barrels for the for the Gatling gun. So I'll be putting those together, and I'll show you a little bit more in detail at a later date when we actually start to do it, because I don't want to get that stuff out and it all pings off and goes down into a crevice or something like that. Anyway, so all I need to do now is to finish off the cockpit. I shall put on the film for the instrument panel and get that sorted, and then I shall start to paint up and sort out the photo etch for the actual screen and, well, for the instrument panel and other bits and pieces. And yeah, so let me crack on and we'll get this sorted out. Right, just sticking the photo etch now onto the instrument panel. What I've got is I've put the film, as in where the instrument dials are, already onto that, and I'm just liberally putting crystal clear or micro crystal clear over the area, so when the actual photo etch part goes on, it will start to squish out some of the PVA, which will then make it sort of like little dials or bezels, or whatever you want to call them. So literally that's all I'm going to do for that. So hopefully this will work. Just try with the scalpel, just prod it slightly. There you go. Let's just pick it up and stick it on. So when you squish it down, you've got all the dials that are switched out with the PVA, which in turn will give it that sort of like glass look. And although, I don't know if you can see it, but there are a few of them that look a bit excessive. Don't worry about that too much, because once it dries back, so you haven't got that sort of like huge bloody sort of like stick of, you know, PVA sticking out of it. So really wouldn't worry about that at all. Next thing is you've got a small piece here, which, let me just double check. Yep. So literally now I'm just going to stick another small little dip of PVA top of there, just to secure that. And again, pick up that part and just slide it in there. Right, that looks nice and straight. Right, now it is. Right, so you got that, and the last bit for, well, what I'm going to use for the photo etch is within the cockpit, and you've got it just down there where the actual control column will be, or the joystick. So again, it's just literally a small little part there. It's that way up. I can just slot that in there, like so. There you go, right the way down to the bottom. In fact, I'm going to stick a bit more PVA in, and I'm not convinced that that's enough. Right, cool, that's nice and straight. Lovely jubbly. Right, let's give you a bit of a close-up of what we've done so far with the cockpit. I've dry brushed it, I've picked out all the dials that I can, and also the back area as well, just to give it a bit more of a sort of like a warning look. I'm not going to go over the top because there isn't much yellow and red and whatever switch wise in the actual cockpit, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Got the dials, or the instrument panel. You can just see it slightly, and then the dials they are slightly more shinier, so that's the effect that I managed to get. So with that, all I'm going to do is put the instrument panel on, put the joystick in, and hopefully, where is it? Over there. There we go. We can stick it into the cockpit, and we'll go from there. Right, the cockpit, the instrument panel, that's in. That's all ready to go. So all I'm going to do now is try and pop this in. And it should, fingers crossed, it should be alright. So let's need to pop that in. Try and get that as near as I can. Right, I did cut that part there just to ease, I'll try and ease that out. So these little, we've got a ledge there and a ledge there, so the actual resin part actually comes out and rests on it. So you've got a really sort of like decent sort of like fit. But let's try and get that in. There you go. That. Yep, there you go. That is it. That's it. Push that back slightly. Push down at the same time. Yep. And there you go. That's on. Ooh. Right. So the only thing else, well, what I'll do now is I'll super glue it in, leave it to set properly, and what I'll do is once that's done, you've got, where the instrument panel is, you've got the front combing, which, I'll just show you it, will land on top of that. So the next thing I will need to do is just to, well, basically get all this out, or file it out very well as best as I can. Then I can super glue that combing in, and that'll be that sorted. In fact, you dick, what am I on about? I haven't got the sidewalls in, have I? Shit. Good job I didn't do it on this on camera, did I? Right, panic over. Right, let me put the sidewalls in and I'll get back to you in a bit. Right, cockpit is secure and happy with what I've got. I think, yeah, I have, don't worry. Right, next thing is, where the bloody hell have I put it? Molly, have you eaten it? Molly. Oh, I haven't got it. Where the fuck? Oh, it's already on there. Jesus Christ. Should we start again? No, let's keep it rolling. Right, all it is now is to stick the actual bottom part of the fuselage on, or this small part. And for that, all I'm using is a drop of the old Samuel extra thin. Yeah, let's literally put that in. Actually, all I want to be doing now is dropping a bit of drop of the old extra thin, so it's going all the way down. So I'm able to get that in, so it will be properly secure. Once you've got one part down, the other part does lift up, so I would just make sure that it is secure on both ends. So, yeah, so literally, let me do that. I'll come around and do the actual other bit there, but this is going to need to be clamped down. Once I've done that, it is a simple case of just sticking the wings together, making sure I do that and two holes there for the hard points. I'll stick those together. If there's any issues, I'll get to you on that one, but I need to get onto this. So I'll catch you in a moment. Right, what I've done is glued the wings together. Pretty simple enough. However, when you're putting these on, if you've got the Italer version, scrimp down on these front parts here, okay, because they do rise quite a bit. So there is a step, but that'll work in my favour anyway when I come around to actually sanding it off. And the two parts here, they do lift, so I used super glue, you know, gloopy stuff. Where are we? There we go. So I've used that and it's tacked down really, really nicely. Now, the observant among you may have noticed that I haven't put any nose weight. Now, in the instructions, it does say, where is it? Yeah, it says 30 grams. If you were going to do this with nose weight in it, 30 grams, I would go for about 45. And that does sound a bit excessive, but or maybe even go as far as 50, because when I did the Tamiya one of this, I almost put 100 weight in it and it still was a tail setter. But the reason why I haven't is this. Taking account of the resin cockpit, the kit itself, because when you put the wings, I'm not being funny, but these are quite weighty for plastic, along with the resin engine and the metal parts there, they're all going to add up, including the resin seat. It is going to put a lot of weight onto the undercarriage. It is going to be a tail sitter, however, my intentions is to actually affix this onto a frame using a weld action glue, which is like concrete when it dries. So that is my plan, and that's the reason why I haven't put any nose weight in. But this needs a lot if you're going to have it just as a bog standard on the ground. Okay, so all we need to do now is to pop the wings on. Now these are quite a tight fit, so what I will do, I'm going to put a spot of super glue in. Just in there, not an awful lot. Just a pop there, and a little pop there. And you'll see how tight it is when I kind of stick it on. Mainly around the wing roots. Around here. So you do need to play about with it a tad. There you go. Just to get it on. Right, so I've got some glue coming through there, which is okay. I can get rid of that. And that is on. Now, when you do put this on, you do get a bit of a gap showing along here. Right, so what I will do is load it up with some Tamiya extra thin, and literally all I'm going to do is just pop it up and hold it there, and that's all I'm going to do. Okay, I'll set it over there. So leave it with me. I'll get this sorted out, and yeah, we'll crack on probably with the actual tail section along there. Okay, right, catch you in a bit. Right, so the wings are on, but I have elected to put some of the styrene glue, which I use, and I'll tidy it up. It shouldn't be a problem, but you know, everything else fits absolutely a-okay. Put the horizontal stabilizers, or part of it. I'm not putting these on just yet, because once they're on, well, I think they might be in the way. I've test fitted them. There shouldn't be too much of a problem, but what I want to do is get the engine nacelles on and sorted first before they go on. So what's next on the old instructions? So right, put those together, put everything on. Right, in fact it is the engine next. So what I will do, I'll get that sorted out, and maybe later on this evening I can take all the stubs off of that, hopefully clean it up, glue it together, and hopefully be able to prime it and do it tomorrow maybe, or on the next video. So leave that with us, and yeah, what I'll do is, yeah, I'll get all the engine parts sorted out, cleaned up, and hopefully ready to go. Right, sorry about the camera angles, and basically this part is done about a week after the last segment you just watched. Basically I've cracked on with it because I had to. I just didn't have a chance to actually video it. So very quickly what I'll do from basically front to end. The front part's gone on with the mounting for the Gatling gun, or the Avenger, The front part there, yeah, it fitted okay, but it was slightly too big. So all I've done is basically use a sanding stick just to round it off and make it a little bit more flush. Inside, the actual coaming, that went on fine after I did all the bits and pieces, and that's still very nicely secured, and with the actual cockpit tub as well. I have elected to put the fins on, basically because I can put the actual engine or the engine mount in, painted and everything else, without having, well, no issues, as it were, when you're putting it in. I'm taking a bit of a gamble, but that's what I intend to do. I've dry fitted it a few times. There isn't much of an issue, really. The thing is, one thing I'm trying to go on to as well, if I can just explain this properly to you, the amount of times that you put bits on a kit and they slightly don't just fit, as in there's a bit hanging up, or you know, we're talking microbes here. But the thing is, if you look on the real aircraft, they're not completely flush. They're not, you know, 100%. It's like the front part here. I've left that with slightly sort of like gappy, slight sort of like it's not right as a kit. But when you look at it in real life, it is, and it'll be the same for the engine one as well. And you know, there's panels that have been open and close, and every so often, you know, time and all the rest of it, you know, the metal might get a little bit buckled, or there's a gap. Now, if you look on this part here, that camera's gonna, you've got a slight bit of gap. It's not 100%, but I don't care. That's, for me, is going to be more of the authenticity of this kit, and you know, the subject matter itself, which will make it even more, I don't know, better, I suppose, and a lot more realistic. But carrying on, everything is fitted okay. No issues really. I mean, there's a slight part there which I do need to sand off a little bit more. I might, I don't know, but obviously it's going to be like that, so you're not going to see it. But everything else I've put on, the old sticky 80 bits. There's a bit there, and along the top and the sides as well. There's no issues with that one. They're quite nice actually. You can just pop them on and that's it. What I've also done is I've masked up the actual canopy, and that, I'm very happy to say, well, it did about an hour ago, fitted rather nice. And there you go. So that one goes on all right, and the front part as well, that goes on rather nicely like that. There's no issues, but for me, I'm having the actual canopy opened like that, so obviously you can still see the detail within. But overall, this kit isn't too bad. I've never built the Revell one, so I can't comment on that one, but this one, as an A10, is better than the Tamiya kit. I can tell you that now. There's a lot more features to it. Yeah, there was a bit of an issue with the gap in there. It was a gap, so all I've done is filled it in with the styrene mix that I use, and all I've done is re-scribed where I've taken the detail off. But compare this to the Tamiya version, which I have built, this is, well, it's night and day. It really is. No disrespect to Tamiya, but it is pure and simple. So that's what I've got up to, and yeah, catch you in a bit. Right, hopefully I've explained myself, and I'm sorry about I've actually got on and built the actual kit without actually filming it. I mean, there was quite a few bits and pieces, but I had no choice. I didn't have the capability of doing it. And like I've always said, I will always build a kit around the kit, not around videos or anything else like that. Because at the end of the day, you'd never build anything. But anyway, like I said, I like this kit. I really do. Thus far. All I've got to do now really is I'm going to do some spot art painting around the cockpit. I'm going to apply the actual canopy. I've also got the photo etch HUD framing to put on as well. So I can put that on, and hopefully then primer, could very well be, and we'll go from there. I've also got, let me just get the box of, well, my little tub of bits, which is here. I'll get the engine sorted out and hopefully primed up. I've got pictures of the actual real engine, and I've got my new magnifying lamp which I can put on, and hopefully paint and bring out some of the details on the actual engine. I must admit, I wasn't really impressed. I know you can't really do anything about it, but on the, whatchamacallit, on the freight dog, no, what's it called? Black Dog, bloody hell. On the Black Dog kit, obviously the resin part here, and you've got the mould stud, or the mould base on there, which I had to take off. Well, when I did take it off, unfortunately I did take a little bit of a gouge out, but also, I don't know, it's just not doing it for me. I put some plastic card on there, glued it on, and started to file it away, but no, it's starting to bend, it's starting to curve, and also it's not very nice, well, actually within the ring itself. So no, I'm going to leave that and just use the kit part. Plus I think it would be a bit more, from what I can see, it'd be universal, as it were, because they do look a bit different, you know, the resin one compared to the plastic one. So that's it. So bloody hell. Right, I'm off, and yeah, I shall catch you on the next video. Okay, so until then, take care, enjoy your builds, and I shall see you on the next video. So, toodle pip.